Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine McCoy and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for clicking in to drop by, but if you're a returner, it is always nice to have you back. This video, I wanted to take a little stroll down memory lane because I feel like I have a very unique experience, a very unique perspective, having gone to the North Atlantic Regional Conference 5 times straight the past 5 years. I've been able to see it from many different viewpoints, starting out in 2018 as a newly initiated member of the lovely and uppermost Lambda Upsilon chapter servicing Harvard, MIT, and Wellesley, to most recently coming in as a guest, not as a member of the North Atlantic region, but as a guest, and also as a former board of directors member, being that I was the former international second vice president. So 2 very different positions that I was in my life. But there was a lot that happened in between. So I'm going to take that stroll down memory lane, talking about the 5 different North Atlantic regional conferences that I was able to attend and just what my takeaways were from it. So in these, I'm going to be talking about my experience, showing off the bags that I have at my feet, but also remember, these bags I gave more in-depth reviews in a video where I literally went through my bag and purse collection from all of the regional conferences that I have been to. I'll talk about maybe being a VSG and what that experience is like, or in one case, what it was like going to a virtual North Atlantic Regional Conference. So we are going to start at the very beginning with NARC number 1, which happened in 2019. In this section, you are going to see some pictures of fetus Jasmine that, from many years ago, 2019, I was freshly initiated, and at the time I would have been 4 or 5 months within the sorority, but already in those 4 or 5 months, I was making very big strides. So it was held in Atlantic City, New Jersey, leading with a high note, and that was the name of the theme of the regional conference. I remember leading up to the regional conference, the way that we got there was myself, the members at Harvard, because remember I said Harvard, MIT, and Wellesley. Myself and the girls at Harvard, we rode the bus to Wellesley. The girls at Wellesley got the rental car, and then we drove from Wellesley over to Atlantic City. It was 5 of us going. We were packed in the car, shoulder to shoulder, and that was what my first regional conference transportation experience was. Because when I talk about, and you all might be like, oh, she's just saying that. No, she hasn't done that before when she talks about carpooling or taking a bus to regional conference. She's probably never done that. No, I have. I have worked logistically with my chapter members for us all to come to X location. That way we can be on the road to get to regional conference. So that's how we got there. And when we got there, we were not in the host hotel. That was the only time that I've ever not been in the host hotel for a North Atlantic Regional Conference. And I remember it wasn't that far of a walk. It was also on this long strip of casinos, so that was interesting. But we, and also hundreds of other members, were having to wake up and have a mass exodus from our hotel down probably a 3-minute walk to get to our hotel. And the great thing, but also the terrible thing about that 3-minute walk is that there was a Starbucks right to it, which my chapter members really wanted to go to, but I would be like, we gotta get to plenary. We gotta get to plenary. And oh my God, the lines at that Starbucks were astronomical. But I also remember just being super excited, like, oh my God, I'm at plenary. It's happening. I am here doing the things that I have seen and heard my mom doing for years. Since I was a child, I have seen and heard my mom going to regional conference. She's also taken me to regional conference 2 times when I was really young and couldn't remember much of anything. All I remember is that I held a flag to represent Phi Beta Sigma with a bunch of other little children holding flags and waving them around. So that's all I remember from that regional conference, but still, being able to finally be there and be in it as an active participant, I was on cloud 9. And now I want to show you what the bag looked like. I'm just going to show you the outside. If you want a review video of everything that was inside the bag, I do have another video on my YouTube channel of not just this bag, but all the bags in my AKA collection, which is like 15-20 bags, so you can go watch that. But this is it. It is a pink and green chrome purse that we all received. And it's very important to me because this is the first thing that I ever received. It's just very nostalgic. Also, I'm wearing the first piece of paraphernalia that I ever bought for myself. This is a Ivy Leaf, and it says Ivy League because I am in the Ivy League, graduating from Hartford, but also Ivy League as in AKA. And my mom told me that because this Ivy Leaf has the little lines in it, that means I'm a legacy, which I didn't know at the time of buying it, but when I showed it to her, like, Mom, look, this is what I bought. She said, oh, Jasmine, you don't even know why I'm acting like this. And I was like, no, you bought that with the lines in it, which means, and it announces to everyone you're a legacy. So anyway, yes, these are other really important things that happened at my first North Atlantic Regional Conference, which also happened to be the first regional conference ever that I went to. And it is where I was introduced to the big wigs, the leaders of the region and the sorority. So at that time, my regional director was Mary Bentley Lamar, beautiful songbird, and my international president and CEO was Glenda Glover. Not knowing that I would serve with her in a year, like that's crazy to think. And also not knowing that Alicia Pegues-Spearman, who at that time was the International Leadership Fellows Program Committee Chairman, would eventually become the North Atlantic Regional Director. Like, it's just wild to think that all of these things were happening. My first regional conference, and I had no idea that that's where it would be, and that's how it would end up years later. But that's what happens. And now moving on to NARC number 2, which happened in 2020. For this NARC, I had two very, very important positions. I was serving as the vice secretary, along with my graduate advisor, Coffee Meadows, who was serving as the secretary for the entire regional conference, as well as the fact that I was serving as the co-chairman of undergraduate activities. Jasmine, how did you manage to get these two positions for regional conference? Well, Cluster 5 was hosting the regional conference. So I was very, very deeply involved in it, going to all of these planning activities, planning meetings, planning calls. It was a lot. Going to the convention center before the regional conference. That way we could see, oh, this is where this is going to be. This is where the workshops are going to be. This is where the closing gala is going to be. I was in it as an undergraduate in that room, surrounded by mostly graduates, but still being there and being a voice. And also at this time, I was a certified candidate for the office of International Second Vice President. So you can see how quickly things are already changing. From being a leadership fellow at my first regional conference to now being a certified candidate at my second regional conference. Amazing. I was able to make such great strides, and it's just amazing to think that that's how it all started. This regional conference was being held in Hartford, Connecticut, and the purse is this green drawstring bag. And as I said, this was in 2020. So 2020, the pandemic, we know that that's going to happen. This was one of the last regional conferences to occur. This was the last regional conference to happen in its entirety, because the next, once I finished the North Atlantic Regional Conference that year, I went back to school. I went to school for 3 days. Harvard said, y'all gotta leave. Pandemic, get out of your rooms and take everything. You have 5 days. and that happened, so I had to pack everything up. And then I go home. We decide, okay, well, we still have our tickets for the Central Regional Conference. We're going to that. We get to the Central Regional Conference. We're dressed all up in our white for the first plenary. And at the time, the board of directors members get up on the stage and they say, unfortunately, because of the rising numbers of infected, it looks like we are getting to a point where this is an unsafe thing for us to do. We will hold, we're gonna do a couple items on the agenda, and then that will be the end of this regional conference. Conference hasn't even started and it's already ending. But anyway, we're talking about the North Atlantic Regional Conference, but because of that, it's very important to me to talk about, because little did I know, I was having just the time of my life at the 2020 North Atlantic Regional Conference. No thoughts, not an inkling that everything would be changed in the span of a week. So this is my first time. Also, another reason why I'm super excited for the 2020 Regional Conference, because I am a certified candidate, because I'm vice secretary, because I'm co-chairman of undergraduate activities. I am a VSG, a very special guest for the first time in my life. In AKA, I am a very special guest. Because I am a VSG, I have that nice flag at the bottom of my badge saying VSG, alerting everyone to the fact that I'm kind of important. I'm kind of a big deal. I have tickets to everything and it's complimentary. So I'm going to every luncheon. I'm going to every ball, gala, whatever. And it's free of charge, I think. Or maybe it might not have been. I can't remember. All I remember is that I had tickets to everything. Pretty sure that everything was complimentary because of the being at those two high levels on the planning committee, but I was having a good time. This was also the regional conference where I worked the registration desk. If you ever work the registration desk for a regional conference, I thank you very much, and that comes from the bottom of my heart as someone who has done that, who knows what it's like to be in those lines and seeing the line grow, working as fast as you can, but maintaining a smile and staying sisterly and helping everyone to get the start of their regional conference off on the right foot. So I was there handing people their bags, handing people their little flags, if they were a diamond, pearl, golden, diamond, or maybe if they were a chapter president or if they were a VSG. It was a good experience. Because of my two positions, I was sitting up on the dais, so I had to make sure that all my outfits were put together. Little did I know that that need to always look on point would go high, even higher the next year, but we'll get to that. So I'm sitting up on the dais, I'm sitting at all the VSG tables, I'm taking pictures with former regional directors, and I am just, it's a whirlwind for me. And for this regional conference, I don't want to forget the fact that I was in the host hotel. And I was in the host hotel with my roommate, Sir Adrian, who I just call her my roomie. We always greet each other with, hey roomie, because we were rooming together for the North Atlantic Regional Conference in 2020, and she's just always maintained a good supporter and friend over these years. Now we'll move on to NARC number 3, the virtual regional conference that happened in 2021. And by this time, I am elected. I am elected as the international second vice president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I am at home in my basement. I mean, never would I have thought that that's how I would start, or not even start or end, just never would I have thought that a pandemic would have us all just sitting at home. But even though we were sitting at home, we were able to adapt. We were able to pivot. We were able to maintain our sisterhood, do the work of Alpha Kappa Alpha, and hold our regional conferences like we are accustomed to. So there was not a bag for the 2021 regional conference, but it was virtually hosted by the chapters of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And instead of giving us a bag, they sent us a VSG gift box. So here's the little, and also this was the time where I was getting into the whole social media thing of like, well, I can't be with you all in person, so let me make sure that I'm showing you everything on Instagram and also starting a YouTube channel. So here is that little Instagram story that I made for the VSG bag that we received. And it had food. It had the Philadelphia Men Who Cook cookbook. So there were many things in there that I was able to enjoy. And also the fact that it was the start of my YouTube channel. At this time, I was doing the YouTube videos in my basement. I was making one video for the entirety of the regional conference, so you can go and see that video. It's still up on my channel. I'm not the kind of person who will be like, ugh, cringy, that's the old me, I want to get rid of that. No, I'm going to keep that on my channel because it is a part of the growth that I've been able to have. So if you go and watch it, you'll be able to see like, wow, she's really changed up the way that she does things when showing us and taking us to these regional conferences. Being that everything was virtual, it also meant that everything was pre-recorded. So I pre-recorded my undergraduate luncheon speech. I got all dressed up from like the waist up. I had to buy a ring light. We bought a background for me to hang some nice ivies, and I sat down and I read my speech, sent that off to whoever it is I had to send that off to, and they played that for the undergraduate luncheon. And also being the fact that we're not sitting together having luncheons, but I'm still a VSG, they gave us $20 Grubhub coupons to use every day of the regional conference. And I was like, ooh, I like that. I like that very much. So every day of the regional conference, I was able to get myself a little something from the restaurants in the area. NARC number 4 happening in 2022. I am still the international second vice president at the time. It is being held in Baltimore, Maryland, and this is a very, very important regional conference. One, we're back in person again. Yes, back in person, but also people are still scared. People are still masking, loving, wearing, getting their hand sanitizer. Like, we're still in a pandemic. So it wasn't everything back to normal, but we were making steps toward normal. And we were back in person. The theme was the Charm City Crescendo. And how did I get to this regional conference, you might be asking? To get to this regional conference, I took a flight. We like that. I took a flight and it was fully paid for by the corporate office. We like that. Going from sharing a rental car with my undergraduate chapter to it being myself and my graduate advisor driving in her car to the regional conference, being virtual, just literally going downstairs, logging onto my computer and that being my transportation, to then being flued out to the regional conference. Okay, go Jasmine. So that is another example of the progression that I've been able to have with my North Atlantic Regional Conference experiences. And now here's the bag from my 4th North Atlantic Regional Conference experience. I love this bag so much. You all know I love the color black, but it's nice and big. I also love, this detail is my favorite, my absolute favorite. So again, remember, if you want to see what's inside of this, you go watch that other video. I will put the link in the description. The other video where I open and talk about the gifts I received for all of my AKA purses. And at this time, because remember, my YouTube channel is growing, at this time I made a switch like, okay, everything is in person. So many things are happening each and every day. I can't shove it all into one video. That would make the video too long. No one would watch it. So I'll make a video for each day that I'm gone at the regional conference. Girl, That was so exhausting to make a video for every single day that I was gone for every single regional conference. I'm not sure how many videos I ended up making that year in 2022, but it was a lot. I'll put it somewhere up here, how many videos that I ended up making. That was a lot. I'm proud of myself for making it through. So if you want to see a more in-depth of my 4th North Atlantic Regional Conference, I'll put those links in the description as well. But just being able to be back in person with my initiating region. And also, at this time, I technically was not a member of the North Atlantic region anymore because I'd already graduated. I had become a graduate member and I had transferred into Alpha Omega chapter. So I am coming as a member of the board of directors, but I also am coming as a graduate member for the first time, and I'm coming from a different region. So there were a lot of special things about this. The other really big thing is that this was an election year. This was the race for regional director. And Mary Bentley Lamar, she's going out of office. Now we got to look at the candidates for who's coming into office, and it ended up being, as you all know, as I already mentioned earlier in the video, Alicia Pegues Spearman. Seeing her win, seeing her ascend to that position, I was just filled with so much joy because she is someone who I truly believe will lead the region to soaring heights of sisterhood and service, and she is first. She cares about fellowship, she cares about innovation, she cares about respect, service, and the thriving of the North Atlantic region. So she's gonna do great. Seeing it happen, I was like, yes, yes, go number, go Lambda Upsilon. So there were a lot of things that made that one special. And finally, NARC number 5 happening in 2023, which was literally a week ago. So in this North Atlantic Regional Conference, I am a former board of directors member. I am the immediate past international second vice president. I am still a VSG. I will always be a VSG no matter what I go to because of the position that I held. And I'm just coming to support my number, my regional director, Alicia Pegues Spearman, as she holds her first regional conference. And at this, it's a very different experience. I'm no longer having protocol come with me saying, VSG, we're moving the VSGs through the crowds, moving the VSGs through the crowds, that way they can get to their next location. No, I'm in the crowd. I am in the crowd. I am just walking. I don't have to show up to plenary 15 minutes early to sit in the holding room. I obviously do still come 15 minutes early, that way I can get my seat, but I don't have to do that. There's no more holding rooms. There's no more showing up at 15, 20, 30 minutes early, that way I can line up. There's no more sitting on the dais for me. Probably won't happen for a very long time again, but I'm just coming, sitting, enjoying. And also, I'm a guest who has already been to a regional conference, so everything that I need to know, everything that I'm seeing during plenary, I've already seen. So I'm able to just relax a little more. And it was very good. Also, the fact that the Philadelphia Flower Show was happening is like, yes, this is nice. I am able to do something where, and this is another thing, every time that I went to the regional conferences in 2022, it was always like, yes, I'm in this city. All I'm really seeing is your convention center and 1 or 2 hotels, depending on where it is that we're having things. But finally, I was able to go to a regional conference and experience an event of the city. So that was very good. I really liked that. And for this regional conference, I was able to drive with my mom from here in Cleveland to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Doesn't that name, that city, ring a bell? Exactly. That is the same chapter that hosted the virtual regional conference in 2021. So they came back being able to say, you loved us virtually, here we are in person. And I feel like that was a good opportunity for them to have, to be able to do what they wanted to do in person, uninhibited, without the pandemic squashing or limiting their creativity. And my final, most recent bag from North Atlantic Regional Conferences is this beautiful green tote. So, showing all the bags that I got from the North Atlantic Regional Conferences, this is a depiction of what it is that I have been able to go to, the regional directors that I've been able to see, the experiences that I have been able to have. Obviously, I can't talk about each of those regional conferences in depth, but for 3 of those regional conferences, you can go watch my videos where I actually get into it for my 3rd, 4th, and 5th NARCs. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for strolling down this memory lane with me. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.